Does the inability of the average person to defend themselves make them more susceptible to fear generally in life? And can Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, reduce societal fear?
I think this is a pretty obvious answer, but yeah, I mean, obviously, if you can defend yourself, it's going to give you more confidence in the world. And if you don't know how to defend yourself, you're going to have more fear in the world. That's just the way it is. And I know that Jiu-Jitsu definitely gave me a lot of confidence in the world, because when you're looking at someone, you at least know you're not a pushover at a minimum. You know, I'm not going to go out easy. So yeah, I think if you don't know how to defend yourself at all, I think you're definitely going to be more susceptible to fear. That's kind of common sense. And also the thing with not knowing, when you don't know about things, you are more scared of them. So you've been in confrontations because you're on the jiu-jitsu mat. You're in confrontations all the time. And if you do it occasionally, you should put on boxing gloves and box and even strike during jiu-jitsu. You should do that stuff so you recognize what it's like to be in a fight, and then you'll be less afraid of the unknown, because it's known. Yeah. We're always afraid of the unknown. Well, now this is known. Now the other thing is, the better you are with jiu-jitsu and the better you are at fighting, the less likely you are to have to use it. Yeah. Because people will know that by the way you're acting, that you're probably not a person that should be messed with. And the other thing is, I think when people actually know how to fight, they put up less of a front about who they are, about trying to act like a tough guy, because hey man, I'm feeling pretty good, you know. I got no problem saying hi to you. I can say hi to you in the street, like, hey, how's it going? No big deal. I'm not feeling like you're going to take advantage of me now, because I know how to fight. That's why a lot of jiu-jitsu guys are super nice guys, you know, because they're not trying to prove how tough they are, because you actually know how tough they are. Yeah. So I think that's pretty obvious, you know. That's the many benefits of jiu-jitsu from a personal level. And then as far as societal fear, I would also say, yes, it's helpful, because if you can handle yourself on a personal level, right, then you can handle yourself in other dynamic situations, and you're more aware of things, and you are better at staying calm, right? Jiu-jitsu teaches you how to stay calm.
Well, yeah.
You get in a bad situation, if you panic, you're going down. So, and you get in bad situations all the time. So you get used to it, and you realize that you need to detach, and you need to get out of your head, and can't panic, and can't get claustrophobic. You used to get claustrophobic, and you don't really get claustrophobic too much anymore.
Allegedly.
Straight up. And also with jiu-jitsu and, you know, mixed martial arts training, boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, you overcome adversity. You know, you overcome adversity. You have to. And so when you know how to overcome adversity on the mat or in the cage or in the ring, that's going to help you in real life overcome adversity. So I think that those are real simple reasons why jiu-jitsu is good. If you didn't think I thought jiu-jitsu is good, I do think it's good. I think it's good for everyone. Right.
Update, right?
Yeah, and really, there's a lot of martial arts you could put in there. I'm talking about jiu-jitsu, but it's the same with boxing. It's the same with Muay Thai. It's the same with wrestling. It's the same with judo. Sometimes I forget to mention judo. Yeah. I shouldn't. Judo's also very effective martial art. Yeah. So I think all those things are very helpful for overcoming personal fear and giving people confidence, and thereby overcoming societal fears as well.
Yeah. This is kind of a side note with jiu-jitsu for us. Let's say, and this more applies to this concept kind of has been coming up recently, where, you know, your first day in jiu-jitsu, where I think you and me and kind of our time where we started jiu-jitsu, we didn't look at it in terms of like pulling guard.
I didn't even know you started jiu-jitsu in 1992.
Well, I'm just saying, from 92 all the way to about, I don't know the date, but I'm saying if you like old school jiu-jitsu, where you probably started jiu-jitsu because of Royce Gracie. If you're one of these people, one of us, that's why I started jiu-jitsu. Royce Gracie, won UFC, 1, 2, you know. where we looked at jiu-jitsu as, okay, if I get in a fight with someone, I want to be able to win the fight even if he's bigger than me. It wasn't because, I want to be the next world champion, concerned about how to effectively hold, the most points over somebody.
How am I going to score points in this?
Yeah, or when I pull guard, like the coolest like flip move I can do or whatever. And I'm not saying like that's what it is now. I'm not saying that, but that is in the game now. So sometimes as a result of this, sometimes you can go with no jiu-jitsu experience. You don't know about Hoist Gracie necessarily. You haven't, that isn't what compelled you to learn jiu-jitsu. You just hear great things like, from Jocko or whoever. And you're like, hey, I want to go learn jiu-jitsu. This is the best fighting thing according to Jocko. I'm going to go see what up. And then they go in there and then let's say the first day they'll learn, just an arm lock from the bottom or, something that if you don't go in with the full context of what jiu-jitsu is, it won't translate. You'll learn a move and you'll be like, wait, how am I going to go win a fight now?
Yeah.
It's like, cool. That's a cool move. It's kind of like, a guy, hey, let me show you when you're a kid, let me show you this finger lock.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's cool. But
how are you going to get my finger, boy?
Yeah, exactly. Like all this stuff just doesn't apply to a fight.
So just to answer your question, I just did a little like tiny, instructional thing for some people that hadn't trained before, and it was to support a charity, and so it's all good, but these people had never done jiu-jitsu before, and I taught them the mount escape, right? And immediately one of the guys, hey, what happens when they do this, because he's doing this right here. Yep. Okay, so bring it back in, everyone. And basically after this happened a couple times, I said, here's the deal, I'm teaching you a new language. So far I've taught you the word the.
Right.
That's the only word I've taught you, the.
Yeah.
I haven't even taught you I, because that would be a context of self-awareness, which you don't have any.
We don't have it. Yeah.
You only know the.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you know. And actually, I should have said, I just taught you the word purple.
Yeah.
Because you can't, the actually can apply to different things.
Right.
When you just learn one thing, it's not meaningless, but it's almost, if you walk into a foreign country and the only word you knew how to say was purple in their language, it's not going to get you very far at all, right? It's not.
No.
And that's the same thing. So you're right. In the context of like a singular move, jiu-jitsu is worthless.
Right.
Now, back in the day, when I learned 5 moves and knew the rear naked choke, the arm lock, the Kimura, and no one else knew anything, when you can say 5 different words in a world where no one can speak, you have power. And that's the way it used to be. Now it's not like that anymore. Everybody watches UFC. Everybody watches UFC. And so everyone's seen an arm lock before. Everyone's seen a rear naked choke. You can watch a rear naked choke and see that's a simple move. You can see how you put that on somebody. So yes, you are correct, but if you got to do more than just the context of like a singular move, because that's not going to be very useful to you. Yeah.
So when you, I remember watching UFC, and there was a guy who would commentate, right? Kind of a nerdy guy, but he kind of knew. Apparently, he took jiu-jitsu, so he would kind of call it. He'd be like, okay, so now Hoist Gracie, he wants to get on top right now, establish his position. He can't get the takedown, so now he's pulling guard kind of thing. And then, or he'll be like, okay, he's establishing position with a mount, and he's gonna punch him until he turns over, and then he's gonna choke him. And he's calling it, and he does it, right? So I remember thinking, okay, that mount position, it's very powerful. Or if he's on the bottom, you want guard kind of thing. You can see, because he kind of explains. So when I first started jiu-jitsu, like an actual class, I knew what guard was. Right. I knew what mount was. I knew those positions and why they're important. Where, like if someone's mounted on you, where Hoist Gracie would always be mounted on the person, it's really hard to get out. He's going to struggle. And if you turn over, you're even worse situation, So I kind of knew that. So I knew the actual context. And a lot of people, when they go in jiu-jitsu, just because they hear about how cool it is, they don't have that foundation going in. So I think that, I don't know if they'd ask for it or what, but I think when instructors, when a brand new person, don't know, 0 days of jiu-jitsu, if they teach that, like, this is the mount, this is why it's important. Just like how you did at the muster, where you're I can hit you, you can hit, just like that. And then that'll provide concept. And then at the end, how you taught a move, of submission or whatever, then it's like, okay, in mount, this is one of the many things you can do. And it's like, oh,
and by the way, when I say many, I mean infinite.
Yes. Yeah. So, I think that and I guess this goes out to like anyone who goes into their jiu-jitsu class and just happened to be on the day where you learn like some kind of arbitrary move, given the fact that you don't know the foundation, with a foundation, any move is going to make a lot more sense as long as you have that foundation. The importance of mount, the importance of guard, the importance of, all these other things. Of course, we all want to learn the submission. What's cool submission? Who can I get this guy in who wants to fight me?
Get this guy.
Yeah.
Another thing that people ask is, he keeps pulling my hand away. I go, yeah, it's a fight. Yeah. You're fighting another person. It's not, jiu-jitsu's not magic. I say jiu-jitsu's magic, but it's not magic. It's not magic.
It's an actual.
It's a fight. The person's going to resist. You have to have moves.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn into magic until you have it all together.
Yeah.
Then it turns into magic.
And then you bestow it upon someone who doesn't, Yeah. It is magic, right?
It is.
Man, I used to train with this little guy, George. He's a purple belt when I was white belt. And man, he's the one who taught me butterfly guard. He was small too. And he'd be flying me around doing butterfly guard sweeps and like straight arm locks and stuff, like from the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what is this guy doing?
Magic.
Yeah. And one time he's like someone while we're, how like when you're rolling, you can kind of talk to people while you're rolling, especially if you're rolling with a guy who's advanced as well, because you don't have to focus on what you're doing kind of thing. So this was an introduction of that concept where I'm rolling with George. He's carrying on a conversation with this guy, not inappropriate. Hey, what'd you do last weekend? It wasn't that. It was someone was asking him like, hey, like, how did you do that kind of thing? He's like, well, this is what he's doing. And while we're rolling, he's kind of commentating his rolling. And he's like, and this sets up the sweep, which I'm about to get him with. And and he gets me with the sweep. And keep in mind, this is a small guy.
That's why it is kind of magic because
it seemed like magic.
If I could make this coin disappear, if I could actually do that, that would be magic.
Yeah.
If I can take your arm against your will and straighten it out and there's nothing you can do to stop it, it's kind of magic too.
Yeah.
In some way.
I mean, that is what magic is though, right? When you make it appear, it's like illusion, right? Where you make it
but I'm not
appear.
I'm talking about actual.
Yeah.
Actual magic.
Yeah, no such thing.
Yeah, I know, except for jiu-jitsu.
But it does seem that way when they don't know. When they don't know how you did that.
Yeah, how did that happen? Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
So it's similar to making the coin disappear, but it really just went behind your knuckle or whatever.
It's impossible. I'll weigh you by 50 pounds.
Do it again.
Yeah, let me see how you did that.
Yeah, watch this.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Man, I still don't got it. Do it again.
Good.